Emotions are a powerful guidance system for your life, and you can learn to harness their power in order to lead a more joyful and more fulfilling and meaningful life. The problem that I've experienced and that I've witnessed many of my clients and friends and colleagues and family experience is that we have this belief that there are good emotions and bad emotions, and that we should organize our lives in order to feel only and especially the good emotions and avoid or judge the bad emotions. Now, the problem with this approach is that this can backfire or blow up over years and years and years. Why? Because if we avoid the negative emotions and we only focus on the positive ones, those negative emotions, they actually don't go away. When we don't feel an emotion, when we don't allow ourselves to fully feel it and process it, it gets stuck inside of us. Science actually shows that this is true. And years upon years of swallowing emotions and keeping them inside all bottled up can turn into, obviously, exploding at the wrong moment, or it can turn into chronic illness and sometimes even death. So what I want to share with you is, number one, that we need to reframe our relationship to our emotions. Instead of thinking of some as good and some as bad and trying to live our life only over here, what we want to do is reframe emotions as guidance. Our emotions are actually symptoms. They are clues, and there is wisdom in our emotions. They are indicators of important information. Now, keep in mind where emotions come from. So emotions are very strongly linked, and now we know this for sure from science, to our hearts. The fact is, just like our brain has neurons, and these neurons fire and wire and create the experiences that we are aware of in our mind, our heart also has neurons. In fact, our heart has 40,000 neurons, which is quite a lot. So our heart actually has a way of thinking kind of like the mind, except that it doesn't think in pictures or sounds or words. Our heart thinks in feelings. Our heart thinks in emotions. So when we feel something, this is our heart trying to tell us something, trying to give us its wisdom. Think about all the times in your life where you've felt like something wasn't quite right here, and then later realized you were right. Now, you didn't have any logic or rationality for why you knew that something wasn't right, but your heart knew it. And now think about all the ways we say, I knew it by heart. My heart knew him in an instant, right? There's things that our heart has a knowing of that our brain could never know. But when we damp down our emotions, especially the negative ones, what we're doing is we're disconnecting from that heart's wisdom. We want to actually connect to the heart's wisdom and train ourselves to use that wisdom more effectively. And part of that means feeling all the feelings. So when we create space for our feelings and we allow ourselves to feel them, not only are we connecting more deeply with our heart, which is a source of wisdom, we are also widening our bandwidth. That means that emotions exist on a bandwidth. They're on a spectrum. There are all sorts of emotions. The problem is when we start to limit certain emotions and we only want to feel these emotions and we don't want to feel those emotions, what we start to do is we start to limit the bandwidth available for feeling. And when we limit the bandwidth anywhere on here, we're limiting the whole entire thing, the whole system. Let's say that you're a little kid and your brother gets a prize at school. Let's say your brother won the spelling bee. It was a big deal and got all this hullabaloo and hoopla and accolades, and everybody was loving on your brother, and you're a little kid and you felt jealous. And you go to your mom and you say, Mom, what about me? I want all that. And what if your mom is, maybe she's a little fed up or she's tired and she says, you can't, that's not right. You're being selfish. This is your brother's day. You need to be nice. You might, as a little kid, decide to shut down your emotions. You might decide, I'm not going to ask for what I want anymore because I got in trouble, right? So you might limit that bandwidth. And what you do when you do that is you also limit the bandwidth for the positive emotions, the good ones, the joy, right? So every time that we decide we don't want to feel something negative, we start shrinking and shrinking and shrinking our bandwidth. One of my mentors, Nanilea Diamond, she uses the metaphor or the analogy of playing keys on a piano. When you have all these keys available to play, each key is a different note. It's a different note that adds to the symphony of music. But if there are certain notes that you won't play, then you're limited as to what kind of music you can make. So feeling all the feelings is like playing all the keys on the piano and not avoiding certain keys or even whole areas of the piano because you don't go there. So there are 4 things that you can do to really tap into your emotions and start using them in the way that they're intended, the way that they can serve and support you. The first way is just to practice listening to your heart. It's just to slow down every day, every so often, and check in. How am I feeling right now? What am I feeling right now? And just allowing yourself to feel the feelings and also to notice the physical sensations associated with those feelings. Sometimes we get so caught up in the world and being busy, distracted, that we don't even realize how feelings actually feel. What I mean by that is some feelings feel expansive. Some feelings allow us to open. Some feelings feel constricting and cause us to bind up or close. If you start to pay attention in your body can start to tell you what you're feeling. You'll even start to feel like, I feel a constriction. What is that coming from? Oh, wait a second. I feel it when I think about the fact that I have to get on an airplane tomorrow and I'm nervous, right? And so we can start to identify the feelings and the sensations, and we can start to get wisdom from it. Why am I nervous about flying tomorrow? Oh, I'm nervous because I don't feel safe. Maybe I can take these measures to feel more safe. So as you start to listen to your emotions and give them space in your life, you can start to bring the wisdom from those emotions and create actions from that. The second practice is to cultivate specific emotions, to actually practice certain emotions. For example, an emotion that's really beneficial for you to practice, for all of us to practice, is the emotion of gratitude. Gratitude is something that we often associate to a specific thing, a specific outcome. For example, on Thanksgiving, everybody gives thanks for the food on the table, the roof over their heads, their family around them. We give lip service to gratitude. But that's a very different thing than learning to cultivate gratitude all on its own. And you can start to practice cultivating gratitude. And sometimes you'll need to practice it by remembering all the things that you have to be grateful for, like the roof over your head and the food on your table. But the more you practice gratitude, the more you can access it without any reason or cause whatsoever. You can start to just tap into the emotion of gratitude. And the reason that that emotion is so powerful to practice is because it's the absolute easiest way to elevate your vibe quickly. It is said that you cannot simultaneously hold gratitude and resentment. You can't be grateful and appreciative and be angry and pissed off. So practicing cultivating gratitude is a great way to bring your vibe to a higher level and attract more beautiful things in your life. The third practice is one that most people don't like. You're probably not going to want to do it, but I can tell you it's really effective. And that is to practice feeling your pain. Practice going into the icky spots and allowing yourself to just feel it fully and let that feeling move through you. When you do that, when you clear out those old emotions, those old stuck energies, you will open up space for something new. I promise. And the final thing to practice is to practice desire. Practice feeling desire for what you want to create in your life. I'm not talking about cravings like I desire a Kit Kat. That's different. I'm talking about on a deeper level, what do you truly desire in your life? Perhaps you're a woman who's very independent, very successful, and you're not married and you don't have a boyfriend and you don't really need anybody. Well, I invite you to dive into that feeling and see if maybe underneath that there is a desire for love or there is a desire for a relationship. And if so, invite yourself to really feel those feelings instead of avoiding them or ignoring them. Emotions are such a powerful tool that we can use to identify areas of our life that we need to change, to find new wisdom, to tap into intuition. Almost everything is more beautiful and more joyful when we allow ourselves to play more of those keys on the piano. And if you're looking to create more joy, more fulfillment, more pleasure, more desire out of your business, then go to monetizeyourmagicplaybook.com and download my free framework and guide to aligning what you do with who you really are.